Welcome to the following presentation from American Personal Consumption Tobacco Growers Association, APC-TGA. This is part 2 of processing additive-free and tax-free tobacco on a budget. First, we're going to familiarize ourselves with the shredder, the main body, the wooden block to push the tobacco down to be shredded, the metal box and wood press plate for bringing the tobacco to brick form, the clamps both to hold the shredder and to push down the push plate, and some extra blades. Hopefully we won't need them too soon. But before we assemble the shredder, we're going to need to get some tobacco ready to be shredded. We followed the process as outlined on page 49 of the book from Jim Johnson, Growing and Processing Tobacco at Home. So we gathered our ingredients: the brown sugar, distilled water, syrup, a large pot with a lid. We first tried doing this without the glycerin. Believe me, you need the glycerin. So we added the glycerin and some honey and tried it again, and it worked just fine. This is a good time for me to share with you my thoughts with regard to the additional work of processing and shredding tobacco, rolling your own cigarettes. The processing and shredding is only done once or twice a year, and as far as I'm concerned, it's really enjoyable. It's a lot of fun. So if you're already rolling your own cigarettes and buying RYO tobacco, you should realize that this little bit of effort a couple of times a year or once a year is not that difficult, and it can be fun. And when you consider it reduces the cost even from roll your own tobacco at about $2 to $2.50 per pack down to 70 to 80 cents per pack by doing the processing and shredding, I don't understand why anyone would not want to do it. Now, while we're bringing our mixture of 4 pints of water, 2 to 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of glycerin, 3 to 4 tablespoons of honey, and 3 to 4 tablespoons of syrup. While we're bringing that to a boil, I want to explain that we put the tobacco that was stemmed and shredded in part 1, that was shredded with the slap chop. As you recall, we mentioned that that was too bitter to smoke. So we've placed all of that tobacco in this old cotton t-shirt. I've tied up the openings, and we're going to put that in with the stemmed tobacco that we desire to process. Now we add a little more tobacco, turn the heat down, put the lid on the pot, and let the process take place for an hour. After the leaves have been in the mixture for about an hour, we remove them and put them in a strainer to let them cool and remove much of the moisture. I then added a little bit of sweet vermouth and mixed it into the leaves so they could all partake of a bit of it. Next, the leaves are wrapped around the forming plate. The Cuthof people give you a template to make a wooden forming plate. I found a piece of metal in my basement that was just the right size and thought I could get away with using it. It formed the leaves fine, but when I tried to remove them, they stuck to the plate and were difficult to remove. After you have what you believe to be a sufficient amount of tobacco in the metal pan, and what is sufficient, what I thought was sufficient, turned out to be too little. You could actually fill this pan all the way to the top just pressing it down lightly, because after it is compressed with the wooden plate and tightening screws, it shrinks down to about 1/5 of what is actually in the pan. can see that while compressing the tobacco to form a brick for shredding, it also squeezes out even more of the juices that would otherwise be causing the bitterness in the tobacco if you tried to smoke it without processing it like this. So here we added more tobacco and we'll compress it again to form a brick that will be more of the right size to use in the shredding machine. While our tobacco brick is forming, we'll mount the shredder using the clamps and wing nuts provided. Now we loosen the clamps, remove the wooden press plate, and then remove the tobacco. I had already sliced the tobacco in thirds. I compressed it, sliced it, and then put the plate back on and compressed it again. But now we remove it from the pan and put it right into the shredder. And as you can see, there's room for 2 bricks side by side in the shredder. I think the next time I shred, I'll fill the pan completely to the top and compress it and add more tobacco to make a sizable brick. Getting the thickness right is probably just going to take a little bit of experience. Next, we do some shredding. It's a simple matter of turning the crank while pressing down on the wooden block, which pushes the tobacco down against the blades. Here again, experience will determine the right pressure and speed of the pressure down on the tobacco pushing down on the wooden block and the speed of turning the crank to get an efficient amount of tobacco while maintaining the right thickness of the shred. Here again, trial and error and experience will improve the results the next time we do this. Now it's time to dry out both the tobacco that we just shredded and also the shredded tobacco that we processed. We do this by placing the tobacco in a baking pan and putting it in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit and watching it closely since we don't want to burn it, we just want to dry it out. And when this is done, we can put it in our cigarette making machine and enjoy a few smokes.